Hi, everyone. I am so beyond thrilled today to be with Eyenie, the Technicolor Priestess. And I've been working with her in her containers for like 9 months now, starting from the beginning when I first found her. And I would tell you that she's definitely magical. I mean, like literally, when you step into her world, shit happens and it's amazing. And I'm not even joking. I would describe her as graceful in terms of the way she deals with people, and she's very empathic and she's so present, and she's very stylish and she's kind and she's super elegant. And I'd like her now. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'd like her to describe, if you don't mind, can you tell me about yourself? Because you are mysterious to me. Like, how did you become the Technicolor Priestess?
I love it. Mystery is my jam. How did I become the Technicolor Priestess? I'm still
Yeah.
becoming the Technicolor Priestess. I will always be becoming the Technicolor Priestess.
Okay.
So thank you for having me, Cecily. It's an honor. You are so magical and powerful and tuned in, and just a pleasure to have in the iconic sphere in general. So thank you for inviting me. I'm really humbled and really excited to dork out with you. So I
Awesome.
appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so you're still becoming
And
the,
your outfit is totally loving it. It's a
oh,
vestige
isn't
with a
it?
button up. Yeah, give me a break.
Okay, had to show.
Oh, so good. So good.
Thank you. You know what?
Okay, so
Getting dressed, I was like, I need a little black mole somewhere, you know?
ooh, yes, a little French chic, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Anyway,
love it.
I didn't have
Okay,
it
so
in hand.
next time. It's there symbolically. We know. We know.
Yeah, maybe you. Okay.
So how did I become Technicolor Priestess? So um basically from the time I was really young, I knew that there was something more for me. Like I grew up kind of between two worlds in Mexico. My mom's from Mexico, so I grew up with my maternal grandparents there, and then we would go back to Denver, where my mom was a biker bitch, self-proclaimed. So that's total. I can totally say that.
Yeah,
Um, where it was we were pretty much poor and like hustling and like scraping to get by, right?
yeah,
And so in that mix, like it's like I didn't belong in either world, but I was kind of getting information, and I started understanding, like, I don't know, I just knew that there was something magical about me. Like I remember trying to hypnotize, like maybe I was hypnotizing them, my cousins, when I was like whatever, under 10 years old, like to go to sleep, and then they would go to sleep, or I would like do these magic spells, but I wasn't playing. Like I really felt like it was real.
hmm,
And then I also started understanding very young the magic of clothing. Like it's not just clothing to me. There are energetic landscapes, there are spells. Each outfit is a spell if you allow it to be, right? So I really started seeing that difference, and started like kind of getting anyone I could get my hands on to give them a makeover, because
yeah,
not because I'm like, you need to look pretty or trendy or a certain way. It wasn't about that. I would salivate and feel so satisfied when they would see themselves in this whole different way, like, whoa, right? It was energy to me. And
yeah,
so I really, from a young age, saw that, felt it. Then I tried to follow the normal path. I tried to be normal. As you know, I'm space, and I was trying to be earth and normal. So in my elements, air, water, fire, earth, and space, I'm space. And so I was trying to be normal. I did the whole, university, master's degree, corporate jobs, if you can imagine. It's kind of hilarious to think of that. But corporate jobs where I would go to the bathroom as much as possible, and I would start crying. Um, so all the meanwhile making people over. I know, making people over, knowing that there was something magical, knowing that I was meant to help people or change their lives, do something different. So eventually I got my coaching certification, because I had a little pocket in my life of just like, what do I want to do now, instead of trying to follow obligations.
yeah,
So I got my coaching certification. Then, after much resistance, trying all the iterations of my business, life coach to expats, life coach to new moms, life coach to whatever, I was like, there came a point where I couldn't deny the style piece and how important it is,
yeah,
how it's been important to my healing
yeah,
and my like self-discovery and my self-empowerment. Um, so I started incorporating that, and then slowly I started understanding, like, like, well, the name Technicolor Priestess. So I had many iterations before, but Technicolor Priestess, it hit me one day, like, I love Technicolor, and I'm like, I'm not this somber, like, whatever priestess. Like, I'm excited and, silly and quirky, but I'm also a priestess. I'm also doing like kind of weird magic or something. And so those came together, and that was the first time I was like, that's who I am when I said those words together.
Yeah.
And so I incorporated that, like helping people tap into what their iconic self, what that's called. And then, just as the more I lean into the style piece matters, the more I started receiving information about my system, right? About the elements, about, starting to break the rules. Like I really understood based on how I was in Mexico with my grandparents. They were really rule followy as far as outfits. They were very prim and proper. So it just made me want to rebel. Like it can be beautiful and it can be totally different. We can, right? So all these things kind of culminated. I feel like my whole life came together to make me do what I do now, right? Like my core wounds, what I learned, all these different things like really brought me to this. So the more I lean into it, the more information I continue to get, and I continue to become more and more Technicolor Priestess.
Okay.
That was a very long-winded. There you go.
Yeah, because it's like a journey. Like it's like you never truly. I mean, you can become it more and more, but like you say. So when you were looking at I just so curious. When you're looking at your cousins, like, could you see their magic, and you thought that when you put on their makeup, you would just help them to like step into that thing that you saw in them, or were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. College roommates, neighbors, men, women, like anyone.
Yeah.
Yes. It was like, let me show you. I want to give you a glimpse into yourself. Like for me, it was about more than just looking nice. It was just like, let me show you what's possible. And yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. This is just a personal question. You look so beautiful and tall and slender, and I've seen some pictures you posted of when you were like a kid. Did you ever do any modeling? Like you just seem to have
thank you.
the face, the physique, the grace, elegance.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. No, I did one-off for like a charity event in Mexico when I was like 15 or something like that, just for fun. But no, I never did modeling because I really can say I was my own worst enemy. I was almost like frozen by my insecurity. So I never really I wanted to put myself out there. That was one of my dreams. I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to be a model, and I wanted to be an opera singer. And none of it happened because I was just stuck, and I was trying to follow the conventional way to like be a good girl to get approval,
I hear that. Yeah, I totally hear that. Thank you. That was a beautiful, beautiful answer. Did you study psychology?
I didn't actually. I was going to, because I was like, how can I help people? When I went to university, I was like, how can I do something? So I started studying psychology, and I was like, do I really want to be a psychologist? But I've always been fascinated by it. I've read a little bit, whatever, but no, I didn't study it. No.
There's just a way that when you're present with somebody, or with me, I could say, but I see it with others, you're just like, I can feel it. The second you direct your focus on me, I feel it all through my body, and especially my heart, and your kindness. So I just was wondering anyway.
Oh,
and
thank you. Well, you know what that might come from? I feel like my life, right? So I lots of really dysfunctional situations, and I was kind of like the family ambassador. I'm the oldest child. So I really learned I feel like I had to use my intuition and to learn to navigate people for survival. And so even that, thank you now, right? Crazy adults who were leading the charge. Thank you for giving me the fucked up life that now gave me the skills to navigate and really, right? Tune in. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm very curious. What is your astrology? Top three.
Top three: Aquarius,
okay,
Libra rising, and Gemini.
Ooh, that
Triple
makes
air.
sense. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say Gemini sun, but because you're artistic. But yeah, I get all that. Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you see things shifting these days on the planet? Like, because as I've been in, I mean, I swear to you, as I've been in your container, and I haven't even done all the work yet, but I mean, I have it to do. But anyway, as soon as I stepped in, this magic just started to like happen, right? And it was the intention. But like, how do you see that everything is shifting on the planet right now in terms of frequency and manifestation, and the way we can kind of create whatever the heck we want? How do you see that shifting from how it used to be? Because I know that you're tapped in, and you are the pulse of what's possible, and that's what you hope.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for asking that. So what I'm sensing, so before it was all like, it was all very external. It feels like the old way, the previous sort of whatever era was all about external. So external survival. So you have to connect with people externally. You have to make others happy. You have to gain approval. You have to be part of the pack or the tribe to survive, like in a literal sense, like when it was like caveman, like, you know, prehistoric times, also medieval times, like later, like people could literally come and kill you and take your land or whatever, right? So yes, there was before you were an individual, you were part of like, you know, a community or whatever, which is a beautiful thing also, right? I'm not saying no to community. However, everything was external. So for many people, like it became normal, and it has up until this point become normal to sacrifice your individuality, your uniqueness, your gifts, your your desires for the sake of the greater good, right? I mean, that's what was always considered noble and, you know, like of God and all these things, right? Give up everything and just dedicate yourself to people, whatever, without considering what your actual gifts might be, without considering what actually would make you happy, right? And so now we're shifting into, instead of being part of the collective and following, you know, to keep everything nice and tidy and in order, there is a shift where we each get to fully develop as individuals and be super duper uncategorizable and distinct and tap into the magic that we only carry, because each of our essences is singular, really. And so no matter how many times you've been on this planet or other planets, like your essence is your essence, right? And so when we start tapping into that, we're being called to tap into that, like that gift which within us, our iconicness, whatever we want to call it, right? And really, really express it. So it's I want to say the word unique or individualistic, not because you don't care about others, but because it's almost like instead of sacrificing yourself to be accepted and to help others or your tribe, now you're being so yourself as a service to humanity, as a service to this new earth, and you're calling others to be so themselves and so aligned and so expressed that there's no need to there's no tug of war, right? So I'm really seeing that it's really about going in and expressing your uniqueness rather than following the pack now. Because, you know, the conditions on earth, it's different now, right? And so we are seeing a lot of people coming out and being non-categorizable, right? Like you see it in the beautiful LGBTQ, like non-binary, like all the different, you know, whatever, what is gender? What, like, there are all these questions coming because people are like, fuck, I don't fit into any of these categories anymore. And with business, it's starting to happen, right? Like maybe I'm like, I don't feel like a coach. I don't, when people like the coaching industry, I'm like, I'm not offended because I don't feel like I'm part of the coaching industry. I just don't. I know I coach, right? But I'm also like, it's one of my tools. It doesn't define me. So it feels like we're stepping more and more out of the categorizables, becoming unique entities, to help take the earth into the next level, right? The energetic upgrade, up level. Yeah, that's the biggest difference I'm seeing.
You know, I noticed that where I live in kind of a, I don't know, kind of a new earth community, right? Although there's everything here, but there's definitely that. And I noticed when I go to like the elixir bars where they hang out, truly these people, I call them kids, they're like 20s and 30s that are there. And unless I'm fully authentic, they just tune out and just like, they're just not into it. And I grew up in the older paradigm, and I'm working on shifting, but it, you know, like finding what is that authenticity, right? It's like kind of like, well, geez, I've made myself, depending on where I've lived my whole life, to fit in, to be successful, to be liked, all that, and loved. And so it's kind of interesting. But these younger people are just coming through and just fully expressing without having all those filters on them. So
which is amazing. And like, and it can be like disarming, it can be confusing, it can be uncomfortable, right? I know.
Well, yeah, some of it is a little bit challenging in terms of like just helping me to get rid of all the old garbage, you know, the old thought forms that I've. So, okay. So I called this channel Feminine Essence because I started my whole feminine essence thing like 10, 15 years ago, right? Because I had a blog at first. And because we could feel this feminine energy arising on the planet. Do you think that, do you think that, that's my doggies, this feminine energy has anything to do with also the shift that's happening? It's like we're just kind of able to express more and be more in our hearts, and just overall, everyone. Like I used to think it was just women, but it's not. It's like it's coming through everybody, right? I've become incredibly sensitive to animals, you name it. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think about that? I'd like to know your thoughts, because that's like always something I'm so curious about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I totally agree. I feel like there's been such a focus on the masculine energies on Earth that it's become like very rigid. And so now that the feminine energies, like you said, from men, women, people who don't identify as, as who identify as non-binary, whatever, like whatever that gender might be, like the feminine energies, the creativity, the mother sort of energy, the Kali energy, like all of that is gaining power and knowledge and footing and money and all these beautiful things, right? And what I'm seeing is this might seem, I know, well, whatever. So I know there's like there's the masculine energy and the feminine energy. You have to hone both of those. So for me, when you're iconic, like if you're just fully expressed and fully embodied,
Yeah.
like eventually the feminine and masculine won't even be a thing. It's like it'll almost, even that will become obsolete. Like even that will be like not even categories anymore, right? Because in our most healed, purest expression, those things are balanced. Or not even balanced, they're just harmonious, they're dancing together, like they just exist beautifully, right? You're just iconic. And for me, when you're iconic, all of that's already expressed. Beautiful. And creating synergy, right? So I feel like that's what I'm into.
That's the Aquarius talking.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
Yeah. So okay, so that's pretty interesting, because this planet has always been a planet of duality, of extremes. But if we're actually moving away from that, that means we're moving away from the highs and the lows, which would be fucking amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Is
It
that
would.
and this is like a big key to our ascension, or whatever you want to call it, moving into our next phase of being, instead of war and all the crazy stuff that we see, the haves and the have nots. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because and I forgot who said this quote, but it's like when you radically adhere to anything, to a religion, to a political whatever, to any sort of group or whatever that has a very set of rules, just adhering to that and identifying as that can be an act of violence just in itself, right? That's pretty powerful. So I feel like, yes, all of those divides are dissolving, right? Like right? Like, so because you don't need to, again, it's part of that clan, that binary kind of thing, like, black or white, you have to belong to this or this. And when there's duality, when there's binary, like there's an enemy, there are people who are for and against, right? So it just comes with the territory. It's just built into the paradigm, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so fascinating. It is, like, I love it. Oh, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh no, I was going to say, so if instead of and I call this, I know I've referred to it on our calls before, but I'm really seeing this as this is what was happening with role-led lives and identities. When your whole identity is based on the roles, that creates violence, tension, separation. If we all on the planet, imagine if everyone moved into essence-led identities and an essence-led life.
I love it.
I mean, that would change everything.
God, that's like the key to life.
It really is. It would solve so many, because then what is there to fight for, right? Like, it's not about, like, you can solve it, you can shift it, you could, instead of fighting or having this tug of war or for and against, right? It's that whole notion that is going to be dissolving.
I love it, because that's like acceptance of everyone and seeing everyone's beauty, everyone's gifts, everyone's talents, and all of us just synergizing together. Excuse me.
Yes.
The coolest, most beautiful way. Harmony is what we've all wanted, right? At least I have my whole life. Because I kind of feel like I came here for this time. Excuse me. Of
course you did. Yeah.
I know I did. And so let's see. Let me check my list here.
Go ahead.
I still have a few things I'm going to save for a minute. Can we go off planet for a minute?
We can do what you're the lead. I'm following your lead, magical one. Yes.
Do you have any off-planet memories or inclinations or anything?
I have had some. I had a few years ago, like when I started getting, well, I've had a couple. So before that, I had I guess he would be called a shaman. I don't know exactly what his title is, but a very magical man, a Mayan man who, when we met, I immediately and he immediately, we both got flashes of like a cosmic life together, like literally floating. I was like, what the fuck is this memory? It was literally zooming around, like around a planet, on a planet. He had the same exact recollection, that was very trippy. So that was one of them. I have also had moments where I've seen like I felt like I was some sort of like dragon energy on another, or something similar to that on another planet, and I've seen the outline of what my form was then, and it was like neon, whatever. So yeah, I have had hints of
Technicolor,
this. Yeah,
Technicolor dragon, yeah. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
your essence, right?
yeah, yeah. Technicolor Priestess, yeah, the Technicolor is definitely there, right? So yeah, I've had glimpses and glimmers. I have also, there was a moment where I really I know that's here, but it was also sort of, you know, parallel dimension,
Mhm.
but also Lemurian memories and experiences. And I know I actually get flashes, and there's music that I've heard, or light language, where I like literally feel like I can understand exactly what's being said, and I've felt that connection and that truth. It's
Tell
very,
me
very
more. That's fascinating. Tell me what the Lemurian life was like. Because I think
Lemurian life.
in Lemuria, because some people are like, well, it was kind of like the Pacific Islands and this whole Moana vibe. But then other people are like, no, we were very etheric at that time because that's when we first
Yeah.
came to Earth. So I'm just wondering, which Lemuria are we talking about?
Oh, it feels like a surrealist painting. It feels almost like a when I see it, it's like a yellow glow. It's like people don't quite walk, or whatever, humanoids or whatever don't even walk. There's like a gliding. Um, it's very easy to travel interdimensionally, so you don't have to actually walk to get anywhere. You basically intend and it happens. So it's a lot of like um like manifesting immediately what you want to eat, who you want to see. If you want to go somewhere, you manifest it, right? Immediately you materialize there, or the thing materializes. And it just feels very like there was nothing, it was all very like, yeah, ethereal. So it all feels very like plasma-y and gassy. Like none of it was very solid, right? And I always see kind of like a yellowish, brownish, like a golden glow. Like I don't know if you
The
can see
Emperor.
this
Like
luggage
the
tag.
Emperor. Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, and kind of like your mirror and your wall, like that feeling.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, so I have
Liquid
snippets
gold.
of like,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead. This is fascinating.
Oh no, that's it. Just like, yes, I have snippets. I've had snippets of that. And like if I learn certain music I've listened to, like there's this guy I discovered one day called Ray Lynch. Very trippy, beautiful, like yeah, the a song called The O of Pleasure. That one, like I literally, the first time I heard that, I and I'm not one to cry or sob or like, so it was very odd to me. But I immediately had a rush of memories and knowing of Lemuria, and I started crying, and that's like the first time I realized I am I was in Lemuria. So
I
just
feel
stuff
crying.
like that.
I'm tuning into you and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, it was very emotional for me. Yeah,
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you something. Last
please.
spring, I went to Kauai and we went to this Hindu temple there. Okay, so but as I was there, I'm like, because there's all this writing, and also I lived in Bali, and I've tuned into like Lemuria from the etheric to the step down. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
3D. Not that it was fully 3D, probably as far down as we've gone.
Yeah.
As I'm looking and I'm just getting these flashes at this place, it was more visceral. And I go into their little bookshop or their little gift store, and they literally had a book called the Lemurian Scrolls, right? And I,
Oh, okay.
dude, and oh my God, they're describing exactly what you're talking about. And I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Whoa.
I know.
Okay, whoa. I
It's
need to
like,
look for that then. Right. Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, and I have a teacher that I meet with weekly. Her name's Charmian Redwood, and she totally remembers. She wrote a book all about it. But it's besides that, it's fascinating that you've had this experience because I don't know if I've had that kind like you, like so viscerally. Do you have memories of past lives on this planet, Earth? I keep saying Egypt.
Um,
I don't know why.
it's
Are you,
possible.
yeah.
I have, they're not actual solid memories, but I have like knowings.
Uh-huh.
I know in a couple lives back, I was a terrible man,
Mm.
terrible man. So there's some little glimpse of, I know I was a nun at one, and I there's a flash that like during a reading many years ago, I could see myself fleeing the convent with my friend. We were leaving, like we were escaping. So I have weird little flashes of things, but
Yeah.
I mean nothing solid. I don't have a recollection for how many lives or things like that.
Yeah.
I know it's been a lot, but Yeah, and I know I didn't start on Earth, so I know it's been more than that. But
So
but yeah,
fast.
what other
I
yeah
can see it. Everything you're saying, I can see. I
yeah.
also I also see a courtier in a French, maybe Versailles or somewhere like that. That you
I
were
could see that. There's definitely a weird connection with France. From the time I was very small, I was obsessed, and I don't even know why. I mean, I manifested my dude. When I was 16, I came to France on a school trip, thanks to the Lions Lodge of Colorado. Thank you guys for sponsoring my trip. And so we came, and there was a friend who was just like always talking about how all these boys liked her, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go off with my other friend, and we're gonna pretend that we met boys. And so I made up that I met this really dreamy guy with green eyes and black hair, and he was taller than me, and his name was Mikael. And then she was like, oh my God. So I shared that, my total lie. And guess who I'm married to now? When I was 21, I met Mikael, green eyes, black hair, taller than me, total dreamboat. And now we've been married since we've been together since 1998. So just weird stuff like that. Yeah. And he's French. Yeah. I studied in France, and I met him. And I was like, of course. Okay. So weird shit like that. Yeah.
Oh. And Mikael, like Archangel Mikael actually looks like that, right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's
It
beautiful.
does.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, we can get earthy again. I know that
Mm,
you're
we can
no,
go anyway. Take me
okay,
anywhere you want to go.
I don't
This
know.
is fun.
Is it? Oh, good. I'm having fun too. Um, I know you make perfume. I want to hear all about that perfumery stuff that you do and why you love it and what do you think perfume does for us, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. So that's another obsession from the time I was very small. Like there are certain smells that just like that also bring me memories. Like there are certain like burnt wood. That's another thing. Burnt wood, like and it gives me a flash, like when there's burning wood and it's snowing or raining outside, that gives me flashes to life during medieval times. I was like on a farm, I was outside, like we were like and it's visceral and it's real. And so scents have always
I saw that, by the way, while you were talking. You
you
were the
saw it?
loving, loving mother with all these children, and you just took care of everyone. Your village, you made medicines out of herbs and things, and you took care of your village, but you were just the sweetest, most loving, loving mother ever. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't go that far. I haven't ever gone that far into the memory. Thank you, Cecily. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, that made my heart all warm. So yeah, it's stuff like that that like I've always, and I like since I was a kid, I've there's certain things like wet soil or moss like in the forest like literally does something. I don't even know how to like, viscerally, but also like spiritually, like in so many ways. I have followed people all over campus, all over like downtown because they smell a certain way just to continue enjoying it. So the olfactory is really, really important to me. And so with essential oils, there are some that just really like get me. And so I wanted with my clients, because smell is so important and activating to me. Like I have my Technicolor Priestess, I put it on.
Mm.
It's specially made. So basically, yeah, it smells weird, like earth and moss and I don't even know. It's kind of, yeah. But anyway, so when I started working with people, I was like, one of the things that I know is activating is scent, right? And so I worked at first with this person who like based on whatever information, they would make a scent. That wasn't quite feeling right. So then I had a friend who is totally a nerd about essential oils. So I was like, what if we collaborated? What if I tell you, because she also really gets the elements. So I was like, what if I tell you the elements of my clients? I tell you what they're ready to bring in. I tell you their iconic essence name. Do you think you could channel something magical to create them an elixir? And so she was totally into it. So now every time I work with one client, that I send her the information and she channels a signature scent based on the keywords. Because during the process, I also ask them, what does iconic smell like to you? And using those words, she creates the scent. And they love it every freaking time. It's spot on. And so we decided to do a line for each of the elements just generally, which is also really fun.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it really, because there's something about like hearing about what an element is, understanding it cognitively, but for me, the ways like experiencing it with all your senses and in all the ways is just takes it to another level, right? So when you're like, oh, I'm smelling fire, right? I'm smelling whatever, a little patchouli and a little bit of musk and a little bit of like, right? Like it's making me salivate. Yummy. When you smell like fire, like that, what that energy feels like, at least my interpretation and hers, right? That activates something in you. It's right. It awakens something. It goes beyond your brain. Like, oh, let me be fire. It's like your body or your energy just kind of does what it's going to do when you smell that, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, fragrance is like part of the aura that we get to live in. It's a luxury. It's, you know, it's
Yeah. Also.
have for ourselves our own personal vibe. You know, I just love wearing it. And last
Yeah.
spring or last June, I guess it was, I was in Provence. I went to Provence.
Mm.
The train station, right? And all these, or maybe I was in a restaurant, I don't know, but all these different, and you know, they were fabulous perfume over there, but you live there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live in the south of France. Yeah.
Ah, you do? That's where you
Yeah.
live?
Yeah.
We
I
gotta,
live an hour from Toulouse.
oh my God, girl. Okay, that's another. Okay. Anyway, all these scents were coming. It was like the word that kept coming to me was an accord, you know, it's just like everyone's
Yes.
melodies were just kind of dancing together, and the something about the winds there were just like bringing these express. I felt like I was in a symphony, but a fragrance.
Mm.
And I
Oh, that's beautifully said. Yeah.
anywhere else. It was just because the fragrance there was just so much. Hate to say better, you know, but
Yeah.
it is. It,
Different.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. The scents here are definitely different. There's like they do lines like with herbs and try to make it as natural as possible. And I mean, I think some of the fanciest, most whatever amazing noses are in Europe, right? Or in France, probably. I think it's one of the first places where scent became so important. Yeah. And you know, Deep Teak, that scent, that brand. Oh, can I hear you still? Let me see.
Can you hear me? Hello,
Oh,
hello.
there now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was something weird. Yeah, but just yeah, there's so many different lovely scents, and it feels like also when you smell something, it's like reminding you of who you are, which I love. Right? You're reminded. You're jolted into being another version of yourself, which I think is also really cool. It feels like little portals in different ways, right? You can open them in so many different ways, and scent is definitely one of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what else? It's kind of activating for other people just to be like,
Yeah,
we don't know how it truly affects us, but it does on so many levels, you know. Yeah.
totally.
I've always
Oh
been
yeah.
since I was a kid. I was, you know, I'm into it. I studied it. I love
Oh, you
it.
studied it. That's amazing. Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah.
It's always been one of my big time things. And actually, I had a lingerie store. It was called Neroli because at that time, Neroli was like
Oh,
everything I loved, you know, and I still probably
yeah.
Neroli or Jasmine or something. Um, anyway,
Nice.
um, yeah, right. Okay, is this too much to ask? How do we
No, you asked.
how do we manifest in the magique? Like how do you experience that thing of stepping in and just you know, like creating your life from, I call it the pituitary at the moment.
I love that. Yeah. How do you, well, it's a decision. And it's like the more you can step away from the identity based living and the identity based, so the roles, right? The roles, the decision making from that space, and the more you can just keep remembering. So like when I started making a you know, whatever significant amounts of money in my business, it's really when and it sounds so like, okay, and I say this all the time, but it's when I remembered, when it finally landed that I am the universe and I can create anything I want, and I can trust myself to do that. And I just, when I received that, I received it in a whole new way. It's not like I'd never heard that, but it's like I finally understood what that meant. Like I don't have to sit around waiting for anything outside of me. I can create anything I want. And so when I remember that, right, which I'm constantly doing, I'm constantly reminding myself, like, I'm the Technicolor priestess. I'm infinite possibilities. Like I'm the fucking shit. I'm amazing. I'm so trustworthy. Everything is always working out for me, right? Like seriously, like how does it get any better than this?
Yeah.
When I stay in that mode, and the second part is I know exactly what I want, when I'm excited to call in what the fuck yeah is.
Yeah.
It literally is that easy. You stay the course. You remember, you be that person. You remember you can trust yourself. You hold that energy. Holding the energy means, when you're like, I'm totally going to, like, somebody invites you to a party and you're like, I'll totally be there. And there's that weird feeling it's almost like a backbeat or something, like in your solar plexus, you can feel I'm not going. You
Yeah.
can kind of feel when you're not going, but you're like, no, I'll be there. And then there's like that part where you're like, I'm probably going to make an excuse. I won't be there, but I'm saying I am. You know that, right? So it's the same thing. When there's something you desire, I want to make whatever amount of money, or I want to go on this trip, or I want to be invited to do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
If it comes with that, like that little echo of like, it's not really going to happen, right? It's not going to happen, or it'll be very difficult. And that's when people start, like if it's for money or business, right? They're going to be posting, they're going to be trying, they're going to be calling people, but the energy isn't there because it's not truth. It's not truth, right?
So it's back
When though,
right?
tell me.
The key nowadays is authenticity, just fully authentic.
Yeah, fully authentic. And so even in what your desire is, right? Because if it's a role-led life and a role-led business, then you're like, I'm supposed to want $10,000 this month, and I'm supposed to want to be, I'm making shit up, right? But I'm supposed to want to have a fully booked calendar of clients. But if there's that little click of like, ugh, no, I don't want it, but that's what you're trying to do because your role said so and because your coach says so and whatever, then good luck. And even if you get it, you're not going to be happy because you don't actually want that. So when you're in essence led, right, you're like, what do I actually desire? I don't desire $10,000 months. I desire whatever, 50 or 5, maybe it's 5,000, who knows, whatever the fuck it is, the fuck yeah, right? Mm-hmm. I desire this. And I'm actually going to let myself have it. When you feel that click of, I'm actually going to do it. You know when you've clicked into it, right? You know that feeling. And so I navigate, and I sort of, it's almost like the radio dial. I do this until I click into the thing I know. Like if it's not like that full, like clicked in, like when you find the perfect crisp station feeling of, yes, I'm going to do it. It's game on. I will not stop until I receive it. I don't even bother.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even bother, because what's the point? And what am I going to do? Toil and suffer and tell myself I'm wrong and bad because I'm not getting it? I don't actually want it. So what's the fucking point, right? When I'm tuned in and when I know I can trust myself to get it because I've clicked in and I've decided fully, and I keep reminding myself of that thing, whatever it is, it, like, I'm going to say 99% of the time it happens. When that 1% that it doesn't, it's when maybe I wasn't tuned in so clearly and there's something about it that's off.
Okay. So now the next question came to me because of my own process. So let's say I know what I want, but then I have the fears of having it or whatever. How do you push through those fears?
Yep. So that's where you start leaning into trust, right? And it can be doing little things that show you're trustworthy. So that's why, like, taking care of yourself, being kind to yourself, having your own back. Like, I'm going to be out all day and I'm going to be super hungry because I won't have time to stop to eat. Guess what? I'm going to pack a snack for future me. I'm going to show future me that I'm trustworthy, that I have my own back. Little things like that, you build trust, right? And so even though it's scary, so you even talk to your brain, I'm all about talking back to your brain. Even though it's scary, even though it could make me uncomfortable, I'm going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. It's decided. I've clicked in. I'm going to do it anyway. And I know that if anything happens, if anything weird, unsurprising, uncomfortable, inconvenient happens, I know I can trust myself to navigate it. That's it, period. So come what fucking may. Come what may. I'm going to do this. Yes, it'll be scary to be in front of people, but if someone says something hatery, I'll know how to navigate it if and when it happens, right? So you start also separating yourself from your brain and all its, right? And also the physiology that comes with fear, right? Oh my God, I'm getting pit sweats, so I'm starting to like tense up. And you're speaking outside of that, right? Your real you, your iconic you, it's a whole other voice. It's a whole other reality. It's a whole other, right, set of possibilities. So it's really, I guess all that to say, it's distinguishing brain and the fear talking and trying to make it look real, and like pushing through and hearing truth and iconic you.
I love it. Thank you. I just thought of another question as you were talking. How do you stay so high vibe? Like, do you have a spiritual practice, or like, what do you do for that?
Oh, thank you. It took me a long time I've always been peppy. I'm air, which is very peppy. So I've always been enthusiastic and like bubbly. A lot of it used to be for show.
Kind. And so like, I feel that you're a very elevated person, right? So I feel like that takes some kind of discipline, inner discipline or something. I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah. No, I mean, part of it really is this whole having to be the diplomat amongst a bunch of really immature, like fucked up adults, unhealed, wounded adults, really.
Okay.
Having to deal with things that were really beyond my age. I was kind of like my mom's mom. So I took care of my sister. So stuff that kind of pushed me into maturity and maybe having to operate in a different way. That's one way. That's one thing. And then as far as like spiritual practice and being, because I was also at the same time so self-conscious and so self-loathing that I was really, really in my head. And even though I was nice, it wasn't always like I knew it was nice to be nice, but it wasn't always 100% sincere because I was too wrapped up in my own stuff. So I remember even helping this super spiritual woman when I first was getting into more being more connected and stuff. She was crying about something really big that she had experienced. And I was comforting her. I was there, but she was like, wow, I can feel that you are zero connected or tuned in and none of this is sincere. And I was like, you're kind of right. You're so fucking right. It was not sincere. I was too busy in my own head thinking about what am I supposed to do to seem sincere? How do I like, this is so awkward. How do I comfort her? Instead of just really being present without my brain trying to come up with a plan or a strategy, you know? So
Wow.
how did that? Yeah. So a lot of it, I literally used to just live in my brain a lot. And so I was trying to solve for things and fix things and please everyone. And it's very hard to truly be sincere when you're strategizing all the time to try to like please everyone. So once I started, as my sister used to call it, coming into my body, it took me a long time to understand that. But once I started really inhabiting my body and feeling my feelings instead of operating like a robot for survival, really, I started feeling things and loving myself. So I've done a shit ton of forgiveness work for myself, like a lot of ho'oponopono up in this bitch.
Yeah, I know about open.
A lot of ho'oponopono, a lot of tapping, a lot of self-reiki, a lot of journaling. I've done a shit ton of work on myself. I can say that. A whole lot of coaching, a whole lot of hypnosis, a whole lot of working with different like people who do Akashic stuff, just people who do all the different things.
Yeah.
I've had it really, a lot of it, all of it, and not all of it, but a lot of it. So it's just constant perpetual working on myself and becoming just a better and better, I guess, human and steward of my gifts, really. Work in progress. Yeah.
Beautiful steward of my gifts. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I just feel you in my heart whenever you talk. So you've done.
Oh, thank you. And and that's something that's like new. That's actually somebody told me during a human design reading. Your voice is activating and it really does things to people. And I was like, really? So now instead of like trying to rebuke and say why that doesn't make sense, I'm just like, you know what? Apparently that's a thing. So I'm just gonna own it. Yes, my voice when I speak to people, it just really touches them. And
You're a reflector?
I'm a generator.
A generator. Oh, you're a generator. Oh, okay. I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, one apparently that has the throat, like a lot of my stuff is, I forgot what I'm definitely not a human design expert, but apparently it makes sense with my whole chart and with my gene keys and stuff that I'm somebody who activates with their voice. Yeah. So
I like
speaking. Yeah.
You know how that guy, I forgot his name, Rahuru or something, how he got them? He was on an ayahuasca trip. He was picked up and taken off planet in a spaceship, right? The whole system was downloaded into his brain. And it's a very complex system.
Yeah.
And it took him a while to like unravel it all and just put it out there. But that's how it came about. I know, right?
Whoa. That is, yeah, that's wow. Yeah. Damn. That's a lot. Yeah.
I know. It's a real trip. And like you can see people that live their design because they wait for the yes or the or the or the whatever, all of those.
Yeah.
So they feel different to me. Okay.
What's your human design?
Oh, manifesting generator.
Oh, okay. Like my dude, my husband also.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not supposed to make like an impulsive move. And that's better for me too. Like when I just sit back and feel it, right? Because I make a lot of mistakes when I just go impulsive. But then when I know it's a full body yes, then that's when I can do my move, whatever it is.
I love that.
And then my manifesting is I just have to want it. I don't even have to do anything.
That's so cool.
That divine Like real.
Yes, yes. Feminescence. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. You're right. Okay, so I'm fast. Okay, I think what time is it? 8:40. I can't even see my thing. 45.
45. Yeah, we're good. If you're good, I'm good.
Are you into like the Mary Magdalene thing at all? Because you live down in the south of France.
So, I mean, am I into, well, there's a whole thing apparently with my lineage from Mexico, that I don't know much about, but apparently like my great grandmother, she was like super Catholic and stuff, but apparently so I met her, like I was close with her until she passed away when she was almost 100 actually. But I didn't see this because she was too elderly at the time, but apparently she would go to service and then stay after, and the priest wouldn't say anything because it's not of God or whatever, but she would stay after like in this little corner and heal people physically from their ailments every Sunday after church. And so she spoke about, being from the Mary Magdalene line. Yep. And she passed on this weird book, like just gave us this random book, my sister and me, and we were like, thanks for this book about God and Mary Magdalene. Okay. Yeah. And we just put it away literally for decades. And then my sister rediscovered it and she was like, okay, I think this was actually a message from her without saying it, like we were supposed to. So I don't know much more than that, but I know that I'm of the lineage.
Yes, I don't know why. I mean, obviously south of France, but there's something for you. But I was also not feeling it. I was feeling it, but it's not like it was like fully activated somehow yet.
Yeah. So we shall see. Yes.
This is fun talking to you because a lot of times, like I'm just being totally myself, right? And I'm like,
yeah.
I usually share my visions and things like that, but it's really fun.
I love that. Yeah, thank you. I love that you're doing that. That's amazing.
Fun. Okay, so can you tell me like what you do, like for people? What does the Technicolor Priestess do, like in terms of like her service to the world? Like I just want to know about you, so people know about you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So my service to the so in an earthly way.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So essentially I help we're grounding back.
Yeah.
My mission is to help icons to trust themselves enough to be fully expressed and fully embodied so that they can be their most iconic selves. That's really it. So whatever that looks like, to be in truth and full trust, that's like where all the magic is. So it's changed my life so much, and that's really my mission as far as up until this point. That's what I see as my mission. Okay. So yeah, and I do that through the magic of the elements and what's now becoming, I don't even know what to call it. Yeah, my iconic system or whatever, right? Following your learning to trust yourself blindly and unconditionally, all those beautiful things. Yeah.
Right. And so you have like private clients, and then you also have like groups that you do and things like that. And you have
and I have a new baby. Yeah. So I work one-on-one with very few people. Actually, this year it's been very, very few. I wanted it that way. And then I'm kind of coming more into the group thing. It's really fun to do those group experiences and the membership, as you know.
It's
so
really
happy to have you there. And then I have a little baby, and she is almost 8 months old. She'll be 8 months old on the 22nd. Her name is Eden.
Eden.
Yeah, my dude chose it. I had no say in it. He was just very adamant that must be her name. So
that's beautiful. And what's the other little girl's name?
Audris. Audris.
So beautiful too. Wow.
Thank you.
Oh, nice. So I'm so grateful that you took an hour out of your day to be with me and answer all my questions and put this love out into the world with me.
Thank you, Cecily. This has been really fun. I really one of my passions. I really love answering questions. So this was like a total dork out for me, an amazing, it was a fun festival for me too. So thank you. And receiving your visions also and just your loveliness and your amazing energy. It's been an honor. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So much. Okay. I'll see you in Denver.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I know. I'm going to Denver to meet up with a group of international icons. People are flying from all over the world to be with Eyenie to experience some incredible magic. And I trust her 100%. And I know it's going to be amazing. And I'm totally excited to be.
I'm so excited too. We'll see you January 4th.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.